Greetings, Legionnaires, and welcome. Today, we'll be talking about a game that we've all been waiting for a heck of a long time, because today I'm going to be reviewing Kingdom Hearts 3. Oh my goodness. Let's just jump right in. So at the beginning of these types of reviews and discussions, I like to tell people two things. First off, we're going to talk about pretty much everything here, so if you're worried about spoilers or plot details and stuff, maybe wait on this video and come back to it after you've actually beaten the main campaign of the game. Also, I'd like to give a little bit of a backstory or kind of a little bit of my history with the franchise. Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 are games that I love. I remember having some issues with 1 because it's a little clunky, and it's a little difficult to go back to it, but that world felt so big and so grand and so interesting because it was this mixture, this kind of Reese's Peanut Butter Cup of this Disney meets Final Fantasy, and for some odd reason, it worked out really well. I remember really enjoying, the Hercules, the Olympus Coliseum. That was one that I really, really loved back in that first one. I was never a huge fan of Nightmare Before Christmas, but I have become more of a fan, started to love them more over the years, and those games definitely helped with that. And Kingdom Hearts 2, it kind of streamlined the fighting process. It was a little smoother, and that's a lot what Kingdom Hearts 3 is like now. Not as difficult as I remember it being back in 1. 1, you feel really like a little kid just swinging around a keyblade, literally. But yeah, man, I've always been a fan of the franchise, and I've been waiting for 3 for what seems like forever. But now I live in a world where both that and Final Fantasy 15 have both come out, so Square, good job. Good job. You finally did it. But yeah, let's just jump right into Kingdom Hearts 3. So, for people who aren't really caught up on the story, don't worry about it, because everybody, myself included, who has played the game, we don't know every little detail, and it all gets kind of mixed up, but they do have some information that you can access from the main menu screen, where you can actually go back and watch, these kind of 2 to 3 minute long, little videos about the previous games. They kind of gloss over a lot of things, but they give you the detail, or not the details, they give you the most, pertinent information as far as the details are concerned, because there's so many where it comes to Kingdom Hearts. So you can go watch that stuff and get caught up, and then you can get into Kingdom Hearts 3 and not be as confused. Probably should be something that they kind of push a little harder on you at the beginning, but they don't, so that's okay. But yeah, you're playing as Sora. Man, Sora, how many times have we played as Sora now? But Sora, excellent, great to have him back, and the trio of Donald and Goofy, still this wonderful mixture, and I love their dynamic and all of that. Finishing up the final fight last night, and there's always still this sense that they are just forever the underdogs, and I love that, because even though they're all pretty powerful, especially Sora, he's kind of ridiculous. If you look into what Sora can do and has done, you're like, wow, you're really, really strong, but he gets his strength from his friendship with Donald and Goofy and Kairi and Riku and everybody else, and it's just fun to watch them fight alongside each other, and also do all these crazy combos now that they're kind of emphasized even more in this game. So more now so than ever, it seems like Sora has a ton of different abilities insofar as when it comes to fighting. So one of the things you can do a lot is you can do this flare force with Donald, where you kind of you press the Y button and he shoots off a bunch of literal firework flares, which is the first time I've seen flare in a game like this that way, which is kind of fun. Or Goofy Bombardier, and you jump up in the sky with Goofy and you just grab Goofy and just throw him at the ground and it blows up, and it's oh, that's pretty cool. And then also you have these attractions which feel, even though I'm a huge fan of Walt Disney World stuff, it feels a little like, hey, you should come to the Disney parks. Which is fine. It's fine. But you can summon, the Mad Teacups. You can go on, a river raft ride. You can go, occasionally, Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, and, your big train and stuff. Or carousel. And they just kind of summon out of the ground. Kind of the summons for this game a little bit. I'll get into it in just a second. They seem pretty powerful. Sora seems pretty overpowered in a lot of ways, because you have all these things that are proccing all the time, and they don't require anything. Usually just require you to have good timing, as long as it isn't getting buried underneath other commands where it's oh, the carousel's ready, but Goofy Bombardier is ready. You're just trying to get to these things. But you can also use summons in this game. There are a couple. The one that I used a lot was when I got Simba. And you get to ride, and it's not really Simba himself, it's a fiery version of Simba. And there's Ariel, there's Stitch, there's Ralph from Wreck-It Ralph, and then there's even your big Dream Eater from Dream Drop Distance, that big kind of fluffy that guy. He's adorable, and I've just brought him up once in a while just because I was like, oh, cool, here. And the nice thing about these summons is anytime you summon them in, it drains your entire magic bar, but it also heals you fully. So it does pretty much the same thing as a cure would do, because the curing magic in the game takes away the remaining part of your magic bar. But if you have a full magic bar and you use it to get one of these summons in, it heals you fully and it brings them in. But you have to have a full bar to do that, so keep that in mind. You can't just pop it anytime. Because what I was starting to do at the end of the game was, like, I would fire off a few of, like, my, like, fire or Furas or whatever, or Firaga, and then you kind of shoot it off a bunch, and then if you do that enough to end your combo with, it'll be, like, the next level, so, like, Firaza or whatever, Firaga if you don't have it at the time, and then I'd use that little last bit of magic to cure myself. I'm like, okay, just gotta cure myself. But yeah, magic's good. Magic looks really pretty. The game itself looks really, really good. Like, it's very shiny, very polished. All the worlds look really nice. And that's pretty much as far as I can talk about, at least with the fighting and then getting into the worlds a little bit more. Some of the worlds are good. Some of the worlds are not so good. Tangled and Frozen, I think, are the weakest of the bunch. Unfortunately, I love those movies. I really do, especially Tangled. I really enjoy. And it felt like just a retread for me. Frozen is basically just that movie again, but you see they do the performances of the songs and stuff, and you're like, what? Why are we doing this again? Like, I've seen Frozen. Everybody who's probably played this game has seen Frozen, and Kingdom Hearts kind of gets, at least in my mind, gets dinged for that. Throughout all of these games, is that they usually just retread past, excursions. And if you don't have familiarity with them, some stuff's not going to make sense to you, especially with, like, Pirates of the Caribbean. They do At World's End. And it makes sense in the context of the story because it's talking about all of these different kind of through lines of where people are existing without a heart, like Davy Jones, like he has his heart in a box, but he's still himself. And that is cool. Or it's like Frozen, Anna's got a frozen heart and all of that stuff. So it makes sense thematically. However, for me, because I'm familiar with those stories, they skip some stuff. And if you don't know them, you'll be either A, confused, or B, you'll just be bored because you're like, yep, here we go. I know exactly where this is going. It's not interesting at all. The two that really impressed me, though, were Monsters, Inc. and Big Hero 6, because they acted as sequels, which I thought was really interesting, because it talks about, not just the base story, but, like, where it goes on from there. So if you like Monsters, Inc., you probably saw Monsters University, which was a prequel, but we haven't really gotten, like, a true sequel to all that stuff. Or Big Hero 6, they actually kind of resolve some stuff from that film, and it's really cool, because you're like, oh, that's interesting to me. That's new. That's stuff I haven't seen before, and I really appreciated that. So as far as the worlds go, it's a mixed bag. Hercules is a pretty good one to start off with. I really miss the Colosseum, though. That's something that they've had problems with ever since 1. 1 was really big into, you're going to fight a big boss in here, and I really enjoyed that, and I haven't seemed to have found that again. It might still be in there. They have these other little locations where you can fight, like, these heartless flans, and you can go do these, like, kind of challenge missions. Whatever. Not really interesting to me. Toy Story. I'm not a big Toy Story fan. And as far as the costumes go for all the worlds, I feel like that one seemed pretty weak. In some of the other ones, though, they don't even change costumes, so I guess I can't say Toy Story's is the worst. I think Monsters, Inc. is probably the coolest, because they actually had to, like, change up their designs fully. It's, like, really weird to see Sora, Donald, and Goofy as monsters, like literal monsters. But I like that a lot. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Let's see, what else? I don't know. I feel the big problem for me is that it does become a little formulaic. The cutscenes tend to run on for a really long time, and if you're not cool with that, you're going to have an issue, because this game is a lot of fight for 2 minutes, watch for 8 minutes. That's just how it is, and I think a lot of that is the nature of the game, but also that it's the final one for now. So there's a lot of just, like, talking and talking and talking and talking. It's like, okay, all right, here we go. So you do that, you kind of beat a world, and then you have to get in your gummy ship, and you go off to the next world, which the gummy ship stuff, pretty much what you've expected from the past. There's more of, like, an open world vibe to it this time, so you get a little bit of, like, that Ratchet and Clank style, where it's like you're in a ship, flying around, blowing stuff up, and it's fine. You can kind of avoid some of the fights if you don't want to do that too much. I made my own gummy ship, and I have no idea how it exists, because I just strapped as many guns to it as possible, and it's just like, here we go. I don't know how it flies. I'm like, it was fun that I got to make my own, and it works. So they're kind of forgiving that it doesn't have to connect in certain ways. It's like, all right, if they're kind of close together, there's like a clump of guns, and you have a little pod in which you can sit, you're good to go. And I'm like, all right, cool, I'll take it. But I will say this, though. Because it is Kingdom Hearts 3, and it started off with Hercules, you do face off against the Titans in the beginning, and it feels like right away that this is a bigger game than it has been before. And I really like that, because in the past you'd fight maybe 1-2 Titans, but now it's just like you fight all of them at the same time eventually, and you're just like, wow, this is crazy. It feels kind of like God of War 3, where they just kind of like ramped it up. Unfortunately, though, like I said, with Tangled and Frozen, not so much. However, in Frozen, you get one of the best companions, because in each of these worlds, you typically get a companion like Hercules helps you out in, Mount Olympus and all that stuff. But in Frozen, you get Marshmallow, the giant snowman golem. He is incredible. He's a really good companion, really funny, really devastating as a power to like group with him, because like I said before, with Goofy and Donald, you do get to pair up with these other guys sometimes, and he is really fun, and he gets some really cool like cinematic moves or moments where he's like saving everybody. He's like preventing like a comet from crushing everyone, or like a meteor, and he is just like so sick. Like Marshmallow is the best companion. He's so good. He's just icy claws and death coming at people. I love it so much. Pirates of the Caribbean, I will say this, there are a few of the like levels that did try to change it up a little bit. Pirates had kind of like an Assassin's Creed or Skull and Bones coming up, where you kind of get to sail around an open world and you get to fire off and kind of, control a ship that way. Kind of interesting, a little bit different. I liked that. And then Big Hero 6 kind of reminded me a little bit of Disney Infinity, because you have this kind of open world, like skyscraper hub that you get to play around in. And I was just like, oh man, this feels very Disney Infinity-esque. And I appreciated that. I was like, yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Let's see, what else? Kingdom Hearts is such a weird game to try and give a score to. I think a lot of people are having problems with that, because for many people, like I said, myself included, it's a franchise that I look back on fondly. I've had problems with it in the past, but there's also so many things I love about it, and it does stir emotion in me. And even though it doesn't seem like it is completely done yet, this does feel like a very poignant moment in the entire franchise. So I have to say I would recommend this game. I know a lot of people will say like you gotta play 1 and 2 first. I understand that, and you can totally do that, but if money and time are a problem for you, like I said, they do have the little books that you can go and kind of get caught up on it. It's not perfect, it doesn't tell you every last little thing, but you can still jump into this game, and it is more streamlined than it's ever been before. Sora feels like incredibly good, and using the different Keyblades to kind of like switch into their special forms is really nice. I kind of miss the different outfits you get in Kingdom Hearts 2, which you could have like 2 Keyblades, or you could have like 2 that you're like spinning and floating with, and I liked that a lot. But this works out well too, like using Pooh Bear's like honey Keyblade that turns into like 2 honey shooters, and you're just like shooting a bunch of guns, and then you can switch it even one more time into like a honey lance, which is really amazing. You do start to see a little bit of overlap, though, because like, there's that, but then also the one you get from Pirates of the Caribbean turns into like a spear lance thing, too. They operate a little differently, but you start to see like, okay, yeah, I can see that they kind of redid this one again. And also, not as much of an emphasis on the Final Fantasy characters as in the past. They might still be out there, I might not have found them yet, but in the main storyline, they're kind of pushed to the wayside. It's mostly about Donald and Goofy and Mickey, for the most part, so just know that going in. You better be excited to see them, or see Riku and Kairi and Axel and stuff like that, and kind of building up to that last fight, which, I will say this, the last fight is insane. It gets crazy, and the 2-on-1s, or the 2-on-3 fights that start to happen, because you have the 7, Guardians of Light that Sora's a part of, and then the 13 Bringers of Darkness, because Xehanort has finally gathered his 13 because he wants to smash them all together to create the Keyblade, which is not like a key that you put in a lock, it's like the symbol key, because he wants to, see what will happen if he can use that on the world again and on Kingdom Hearts. And it's crazy. The music alone at the end, when you run in with Mickey and Riku and you're fighting Xehanort and Xemnas and Ansem, like, it gets ridiculous, and it's like, oh my gosh. And it's really cool. It's pretty cool. They did as good of a job with that as they possibly could have. And then the final fight with the true, like, original Xehanort it's like wacky. The only time I've ever like I fainted in the game was like at that moment. Like, so pick up your Kupo coins. You can use them once, but if you get taken out twice and you don't get it to a save point or a shop, you're gonna have some problems. Because Xehanort, he's not messing around at all. So yeah, oh man, and the music, it sounds so good. The music throughout this game is excellent. It's so good. The voice acting is pretty solid throughout. Mickey sounds a little weird, but everybody sounds good besides that. I guess maybe Woody from Toy Story sounds strange too, because it's not Tom Hanks. I don't know. Anyway, it's all really good, and it's cool to see all of these plot lines finally converge. Even if you haven't played all of these games, you can still appreciate the gravitas of the moment of having them all together. So that's really cool. So that all being said, I guess I have to rate it now. So I will give Kingdom Hearts 3 a 9 out of 10. It has its issues, that's for sure. The story's a bit convoluted, you know, some of it's kind of formulaic and repetitive if you're familiar with these movies, but the overall package is so cool. There's so much to be done, and each world feels different and refreshing, even though you're kind of just fighting Heartless most of the time. The way in which you do so does seem to shift just enough that it doesn't feel like you're just kind of slogging through it, and it felt effortless to kind of go through this game. I think I put in like 26 or 27 hours, and that was over a week and a half, and it didn't really feel like I was like, oh, I gotta do this again. I knew most of the worlds coming into it, unfortunately, because they've been popping up all over the internet, and I was kind of hoping for some secret stuff, and maybe it's still out there. I haven't seen it yet, but at the very least, it is definitely worth a look in. If you're a fan of the franchise, you're already playing it. You're probably not watching this because you're going to beat it yourself, and then you can come back here and you let me know what you think of it in the comments. But if you're not a fan, consider checking it out. There are plenty of other Kingdom Hearts games and remasters that you can get your hands on. You don't have to play every Kingdom Hearts. If you want to do just the critical path of it, you could just do 1 and 2, maybe Dream Drop Distance, and then 3. But don't feel like you need to play like 7 or 8 games. You don't need to do it. I'm telling you, you don't. You can if you really want to, but it's a lot of time. But yeah, there you go. Like I said, Kingdom Hearts, man. Just been waiting so long for it. Also, while you're loading up on the screens, it'll be like a little cell phone, like the gummy phones, and it'll be like a Twitter thing. Like somebody will write something and Sora will hashtag a bunch of stuff. Is there like a Twitter in Kingdom Hearts? Is there like 20 people on that thing? Like, I don't get it. I'm like, what? I just think it's really funny because I just would stare at it. I'm like, is it trying to be hip and cool? Like, I get it. Yeah. Man. It's so weird. Also, just the game. The game is just gorgeous. The game is gorgeous. All right, I digress. Anyway, if you want to support the show, consider liking this video if you enjoyed what we talked about here today. If you liked a few of our videos, consider subscribing to us. That helps oodles. You can go over to our Spreadshirt and buy a shirt or a hat or something, or you can donate over on patreon.com/criticalreviews to help us on a monthly basis, because that helps us out so freaking much. We appreciate you, and I just appreciate you donating your time, just hanging out here with me. That's better than anything. Or just sharing it around, retweeting it, sharing it on Facebook with somebody else, just being like, hey man, did you watch Kingdom Hearts? Did you play Kingdom Hearts? Like, here you go. Here you go. Anyway, thank you so much for hanging out with me here today. I really do appreciate it. And until next time, just remember to adapt and overcome. Just when you thought it was over, it's not over, because that's how Kingdom Hearts rolls, and that's how we roll. Welcome to the epilogue. Time for some hot takes, baby! Ooh, hot takes. You know that intro song with Skrillex? You know what? It's far inferior to the other ones from Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2. Get out of here, Skrillex. Hot take. Frozen and Tangled? Let it go, alright? You gotta stop. Why are we doing this again? Why are you wasting my time? Get out of here. Meltdown. Gummy ship? Disgusting. I've never liked the look of these things. What's up with them? They look so weird to me. It's just like, ugh, man, why are we doing this? Ugh. Oh, so hot. Keyblades, I like you. I really do. And I like that you transform and everything. But seriously, where's Oblivion? I know Roxas has got it, but there's not many compelling Keyblades in this game. Really, I was waiting for like the really sick one at the end. I know I don't have the ultimate weapon. That's on me. Call the fire department, because this one's out of control. Goofy, I love you so much. But you're kind of a nag, buddy. Kind of a nag. Nagging at me. Stop it. Come on, man. Help me save everybody together. Hot dog. There's not enough Riku. I want to play as Riku more often. Why do I have to play as Riku for just like 20 seconds at a time? You're killing me. We need more Riku. He's better than like 90% of all the characters in the game. Just saying. Ooh, burns so good.